Good evening, everyone. The time is 7:02. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Vice President Ferguson, could you do the invocation, please?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Father God, we just give you the glory, we give you the honor, and we give you the praise. And we thank you that for your goodness and your mercy. We know that you are almighty and you are majestic. And Father God, we just thank you for allowing us to come together to do the business of the city one more time. And we thank you how you have covered us and kept us and our families safe. And Father God, we ask that you would rule and reign in this meeting tonight, and that you would grace us with your wisdom and with wise counsel, your peace and organization. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen. Madam Clerk, could you do the roll call, please?
Sure. Good evening. Councilwoman Fareed?
She's going to be absent.
She's going to be absent, okay. Councilwoman Guillaume? Councilman Hairston? Councilman Herring?
Here.
Councilwoman Jones?
Here.
Council Vice President Ferguson?
Here.
And Council President Curtis.
Here. Okay. We have a quorum. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Any opposition? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the agenda is hereby adopted. Good evening, everyone. The only thing on today's agenda is citizens' comments on pending legislation. So as it stands on all public hearings, if you do have a comment on pending legislation, just raise your hand in person or online, and I'll call on you, and you'll have 5 minutes to speak on pending legislation. All right, the opportunity to discuss other general topics are for next week, so this meeting is specifically for pending legislation that's on the agenda for tonight. All right, so with that, I'll open the floor to citizens who have comments.
What is the pending legislation that you guys are speaking to?
So the pending legislation is in your agenda. It should be the top form. So it'll be Ordinance 10, Resolution 59, Resolution 60, Resolution 61, Resolution 62, and Resolution 63.
So Ordinance 10, 2025?
Yes, Ordinance 10, 2025, an ordinance to amend Ordinance 04, 2025, an ordinance to regulate the parking of work vehicles and prohibit the parking of commercial vehicles in residential and public areas to support community business growth while preserving traffic flow and neighborhood quality of life.
Yeah, so I'm actually here for that specific.
Yeah, okay. So, one second. So if you would like to speak on it, which I think you do, I'll call on you. There's someone at the podium now, so I'll call on you next, and I saw your hand. You'll be third, and then you'll be able to speak from the podium, because right now when you're speaking, no one online can hear you. So they just hear me speaking. So we ask citizens to come to the podium where there's a mic and the people online can hear you. Okay? Go ahead, sir.
Top of the good.
If you state your name and what ward you're from.
Top of the good evening. I'm Dion Devon Jones, Ward 3. I want to say good evening to everyone and the citizens of Glenarden, as well as I say congratulations to our council who won. Well, that, God bless you, and I hope you continue to do the great work of the citizens of Glenarden. As far as the speed bumps are concerned, I know that in one of the sessions they discussed in Ward 1 up by the school where they were running stop signs and everything else. And Glenarden Parkway from 2nd Street to 5th Street, it's a death trap. You know, since they opened the other side, and that's great that they opened Glenarden Parkway on the other side to Woodmore, they speed. Matter of fact, it took me almost 5 minutes to just get out of my street on 4th Street.
Yes.
So, I mean, they speed and speed. It's like a speed, it's like, you know, a freeway through there. And I also agree with the raising of the fees for the Gold Room. I have rented out the Gold Room several times myself in the past, and my brothers are giving cabarets and stuff. So the Gold Room, it's always been a reasonable price and whatnot. You know, matter of fact, it's lower than the area. So I definitely agree with that. But other than that, that's all I have to say. Okay? Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. I guess I don't know how to start these meetings.
Just state your name and what ward you're from.
Okay. My name is Eric Sandoval. I don't know what ward Johnson Avenue is.
Johnson Avenue is fine.
Okay. So is there any type of solution for the commercial vehicles parking at all? As far as that goes, like, we're not allowed to park any commercial vehicle whatsoever. So is there any type of way that we have a solution on that?
So, unfortunately, that law comes from the county, not necessarily the city. So we cannot override the city as it relates to the laws that they enact. I'm sorry. We cannot override the county as it relates to the laws that they enact. We could be more stringent, but we can't, loosen the belt, so to speak. So on the county perspective, is a law that states that there cannot be a commercial vehicle parked in residential areas. And so that is something which I've communicated not only for our citizens to come out to these meetings to get to have a voice on what's going on in the city, but also encourage people to go on a county level to make their voices heard, because that law is from the county and not the city.
Okay.
So there's nothing that we can do, but there's something that you can do, and go into those the county meetings and lobbying your representative to help change that law.
So regarding those fines, if we were to pay them and then continue to park in our driveway, that would still be breaking the law then?
I have a question. Define your work. I assume you have a commercial vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Is it over 8,500 pounds?
That's the thing. The vehicle does not reach that gross weight.
Okay. And do you have lettering on it that's larger than $1?
Larger than $1, like a dollar bill?
4 inches.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if it does not reach 8,500 pounds, that's good, because that's the threshold of a commercial vehicle. Unfortunately, the county also says that if you have lettering on there, then that lettering cannot be larger than 4 inches or the size of a dollar bill.
Okay.
And so in cases where there has been lettering, some people have reduced it to the 4 inches to be in compliance.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that is a county rule. That is not a city law.
I guess my concern is just if there is a way to park, if it's not above 8,500 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
if I remove the lettering, then code enforcement would not have a right to keep harassing me for a violation. Is that what I'm getting from this?
Correct. And Mr. Green, if you wanted to sit up here, just if I have to rely on you. So yes. So if your vehicle does not reach the 8,500 pound capacity,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say you remove the lettering or reduce the size of your lettering, then you could park that in the city.
Okay. And then regarding the
Point of order, Mr.
violation,
1 second. I'm
Point of
sorry.
order, Mr. President. Can we have Mr. Green sit at Councilwoman Faris or
There you
Guillaume
go.
so we can actually hear his answers? Thank you.
All right, so let me just
I know
have
who he
him
is.
speak about what a commercial vehicle is, and then respond to see if what you're saying, if so it's under 8,500 pounds and reduce the lettering, would that qualify? So I'll let Mr. Green take it over from here.
Good evening.
It's the green light. There we go.
All right. Good evening. Thank you. So I just wanted to take a quick moment to read the Prince George's County ordinance for commercial vehicles.
And point of order, so this is Mr. Green. He is the director of code enforcement, for all those who do not know. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Section 27-6305 H2D states, which is a violation, parking of commercial vehicles on the zoned property outside of a wholly enclosed garage is restricted to one commercial vehicle, which may not exceed 8,500 pounds manufacturer's gross vehicle weight specifications, may contain no advertising other than a firm or company name not exceeding 4 inches high, may not include vehicles that exceed 300 cubic feet of load space, and may not include stake platform trucks, dump trucks, crane or tow trucks, and vehicles with dual rear axles. So as long as your vehicle does not fall into any of those categories, then you are fine.
Okay. So if it does have a dual axle, but it is under the weight of 8,500, then it's still a violation.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That was my question. Thank you, guys.
So they have diagrams for it. So we have diagrams for all of these various type of vehicles. And most of the time with the dual axles, they're going to weigh over the 8,500 pounds.
But you can't tell what a truck weighs by looking at it, right?
No.
You can tell that
Yeah.
just by looking at it.
When we have questions and when we think it's over 8,500 pounds, there are some, yes, you can look at and you can tell that they're over 8,500 pounds. But those that where we can't, where they're suspected, and the only ones that we are still enforcing are the vehicles that are clear-cut commercial vehicles.
Okay.
But those that we have questions about, we ask to see your registration because the weight of the vehicle is actually on the registration.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Can I speak now?
Yes, your name?
My name is Victor, and I had to put on a custom today because apparently the city doesn't care about the hard worker community, the construction people. The gentleman just spoke about his vehicle getting almost getting a citation, I assume. I myself have one from you guys. So I had to put on a custom because apparently this is what you guys want to see. I am a hard-working person. I work in construction. I'm very proud to be wearing this type of clothes, but I'm also very proud to be wearing construction clothes. And I want to say up here that you guys are lying to the people here. The county is only allowed in here when you guys welcome them. And you guys are lying to the people because October 2024, the city CR-4 2025, I believe it is. Give me a second. The city of Glenarden put down the boundaries, and as I mentioned, the county is not allowed in here unless you guys call them in. So stop lying to people, first of all, and stop giving and harassing us with fines. You're taking $200 out of my children's food, out of my children's table that I can use to pay mortgage. I can use to buy my food. It used to be that I got my food for $200 every 2 or 3 weeks. Now I have to spend $300, 300 plus every 2 to 3 weeks. Why? Because the prices have skyrocketed, right?
Mm-hmm.
The tariffs are going up. Do you think that this is fair for the rest of us to have to spend more time working, less time with our families, and being harassed by code enforcement? I'm not quoting you by person. I'm mentioning you by your profession. By code enforcement, we are harassed to the point that we are more scared and more afraid of code enforcement than of having some sort of crime happening out there, because the city is safe. The city is safe, and I have lived here 20 years, and I stated that a month ago when I was here, and apparently you guys don't want to listen, and you have the right to do that. But guess what? If you guys don't think about this, it's because only 7 council members making the decisions for 6,900 people that live in the city. I don't think that's fair. Did you guys put that on the voting ballot? Asking people if they were right, if they agree with commercial vehicles not being on the streets. I don't think commercial vehicles hurt nobody. They really don't. And you're mentioning having a logo. You guys have a logo, and you guys park up here on the street. Isn't that a residential street? Code enforcement vehicles, at least 4 or 5 vehicles parked out there. You guys have a bunch of damn parking spaces up here. Why don't you park up here? Does that make any damn sense to you all? I don't think it makes sense to none of these people. And I have a few people that are being oppressed by you guys. Oppressed. And I don't think that's fair. We are all a community. And there shouldn't be no division. I understand you guys keep talking about, oh, the state divided us. The state divided 704 divided us. Bryce U Road divided us. 495 divided us. You guys are dividing us too. You guys are splitting this side and splitting that side because they have more money? That's not fair. It's not fair at all. We are hardworking people. We are not thieves. And you guys are legally stealing from us. You're legally stealing $200 fucking dollars out of my paycheck.
Well, point of order. Well, I welcome your passionate statements as long as it's free of profanity.
Do you know how mad I am?
I
In order for me
feel
to
it.
curse, it requires a lot. And God forgive me for that. But it requires a lot for me to curse. And this gentleman right here knows me. He has known me for 20 years. And he knows the type of person I am. Half of you guys don't even know. At least 2 or 3 representatives here have only lived in the city 3 years, as a maximum 5 years. 2016 and 2017 and something like that. So they come and rule the rest of us? I think we voted, we pay taxes for you guys to be sitting up there nicely, looking nice, riding out on 2024 vehicles and whatever not. That's your blessing. Good for that. We have to work for our damn blessing. Let us work. Simple. Let the people live. Let the people live. Stop annoying, stop harassing the Hispanic community, especially that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So I just want to speak specifically. I 100% agree with you. That's one of the reasons why I don't like HOAs. I don't like people telling me what to do with a house that I purchased.
That's exactly
One second, sir. So everyone knows, and everything is fair here, that once you're 5 minutes up, then that's it. So there's no more output. But I want to speak because I know that you're passionate about it. I would not be happy if I got a $200 ticket either. I 100% agree with you. I don't think that it is my right, a county's right, a state right to tell anyone who purchased a home with their hard-earned money what they can and cannot park in their driveway. I don't think that's right. At the same time, this law is on the books, and this law was on the books before I even learned about it, before I ran for office. This has been on the books. And one second. I 100% agree, which is why I encourage everybody, no matter what color you are, no matter if you're on this side of 704, this side of 704. I went around this city before we even ran to try to encourage other people to vote. Not to vote, to run for office. Not only to run for office, but to also make their voices heard in this meeting and in the meetings on a county level and on a state level. The law that's on the books that says that you cannot park not utility vehicle, a commercial vehicle is not a city law. You mentioned that the county can only come in if we allow them. No, we are in the county. they have allowed us to be in a municipality within the county. We cannot stop the county laws from being proceeded. We do not have jurisdiction to do that, sir. And I'll stay behind. No. I'll stay behind and I'll speak to you afterwards. But I gave you your full 5 minutes, and I even allowed you to continue speaking after 2 profanities. So if you could, sir, I don't mind talking to you afterwards, but to be fair to the gentleman that's there and to anybody else who has a comment. Now, you mentioned a resolution that was passed in October 2024. That was meant to allow vehicles in the city. So at that time, you couldn't park. So our law was a little bit more restrictive than the county. And so the goal of that was to make it less restrictive so that people like you can park, and my neighbor who has the same issue can park their vehicle in their driveway if it's under the county requirements. We cannot go above the county requirements. I will go with you to a county meeting to lobby to get that law changed. But at this time, there is nothing that we can do. And I can also, I've even wrestled with trying to tell them not to enforce the law, but I can't do that. I can't tell the code enforcement to enforce this law, but don't enforce this law. So unfortunately, they have to enforce the laws that are on the books. And unless another council member can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even know if we can stop the fines from coming out. I will be in favor. I do not agree. I'm in 100% agreement with you. But it comes down to whether we turn a blind eye to the law or violate the law or do nothing at all. And, Councilman Herron, I saw that you unmuted yourself.
I just want to say this because I'm going to tell you that the law that was on the books in Glenarden was no commercial vehicles whatsoever since 1970 something. So the law that they just passed is really less restrictive than what we actually had on the books because we were more restrictive than the county. You could not have any commercial vehicles in here. You could not even have a taxi cab on the streets in the city of Glenarden. So it isn't about being fair. I'm going to tell you right now, and I support it. And I tell you why, because again, it brings down the value, commercial vehicles bring down the value of your home. And if I decide to buy a house for $600,000 and there's commercial vehicles all over the place, so nobody want to move into the community, and I can only sell my house for $500,000, I'm still underwater. Now I'm not fortunate enough to have somebody give me a house. I got to pay a mortgage on mine.
So it's all
But also, let me just say this: we do not have a zoning authority. No municipality, only 2 municipalities in Prince George's County have zoning authority. And I think that's Greenbelt and I think Bowie. Those are only 2. So the county just redid this whole big zoning ordinance, which everybody had a right to go speak at. You really did. They did. It was 2 years long. And they had hearing after hearing after hearing. They advertised it. They sent flyers in the mail. And this is one of the ordinances, one of the rules that they've set in place with commercial vehicles. So since we don't have zoning authority, we have to follow what the county lays down. So that's where we are right now. We cannot go against what the county set down. We've actually got an opinion from our attorney also, because we had to change our law to make it mirror the counties, because we follow the county and we do not have zoning authority. So
that is correct.
That's where we are with this.
We had it at 10,000, and we were informed that we cannot have it at 10,000 because the county stipulated it's 8,500. So we had to amend the ordinance or the resolution? The ordinance that we enacted to try to give permission for our residents to park. We had to bring it down from 10,000 to 8,500 because that's the county law, and we cannot go above what the county stipulates. Chief?
Good evening, everyone. Chief Bryant, City of Glenarden. In reference to this meeting, I asked when you come up, I understand we have passion and tension. My job is to make sure we have an orderly meeting. Once the president advises you, your time is up. Make sure you follow the orders of the president. If you don't follow the orders, we will kindly escort you out. I will not have any type of disruptions to the meetings. So if you have questions and stuff, as the president stated earlier, they'd be more than happy to meet with you after the meeting so you can discuss it. But I won't have outbursts, talking out of turn, and disruption to the meetings in the city of Glenarden. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. All right, sir.
Good evening, Anthony Segovia. So seems like we won't find a solution towards this because this is what I'm here for, as well as the commercial vehicles. What can I say? Just pissed off, right? I mean, I've been living here for 6 years in Glenarden. I am a happy resident. I can't complain nothing more until now about this. I mean, we are hardworking people, man. I have families in Cheverly, Hyattsville, Bowie. They got commercial vehicles out there on the streets. You talk about it's a county law, cool, I get it. But it's y'all enforcing that. Bowie ain't enforcing, their department is to go put citations on the commercial vehicles for my family, let alone in Cheverly, and we next door. So why y'all doing it? Y'all need some money? Y'all broke? What is it? Cause I wanna know. You got speed cameras now, which is cool, we needs that. But it just shows me signs of what the community, y'all need some money, like y'all broke with something, y'all really pressing us out for citations, and I gotta go back to the old laws of 1970, how Cuz was saying, that I gotta go back to those dates to show us proof of no commercial vehicles. I mean, come on, we just trying to feed our families, that's all. I got bills to pay. I'm a young dude that's just trying retired at an old age if I can make it there, and y'all really tripping about a commercial vehicle. I mean, I got bills to pay again. That commercial vehicle ain't disturbing nobody in the world, maybe an old head. And that's probably why it has come down to this, because maybe old people complaining, I don't know, right? But it makes no sense. I'm frustrated. Am I thinking about leaving the community now? Of course, that's my plan. That is my plan. And I love it here, but it is what it is. And that's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony. I mean, there's nothing that I can say. I empathize with you. I empathize with anybody who has a commercial vehicle. It is my opinion. I'm not speaking as a councilman or the president of the council. I think that is some crap as well. I hope that you guys will take this passion and take it to the county and take it to the state. This is what, and I'm speaking, this is what America needs. Like, we have to stop showing up to half the battle and then going back home. Like, there's a federal election, there's state elections, there are county elections, there are city elections, and unfortunately, most people only show up to the federal. And they surrender their rights to people on the state, county, and a city because they don't get involved. But Councilman Herring was saying, and now I do think that the county could do a better job of notifying people of hearings, but they did do it over 2 years. And I can almost for certain say that not too many people showed up. I appreciate all you guys being here, because this is the end of a 4-year term. And when I came in here, you can ask Councilman Herring, I said, this meeting might be quick, because for the past 4 years, maybe 1 or 2 people have been coming to these meetings. Everybody should come out, because everybody's vote matters, everybody's opinions matters, and what you speak to us, and it encourages us on what laws we pass on a city level, but the same effort is needed on a county level, and on state level, and on the federal level. And if you don't do that, then we end up here, where I welcome you to spend your 5 minutes to unleash your passion. I get that, you need a release. But at the end of the day, the only thing, unfortunately, that I can say to you is that, hey, I agree with you, I empathize with you, I'm sorry for you, but there's nothing I can do outside of show up at a county meeting, call my county representative, and lobby for them to change this law. Because up here, there's nothing that we can do. We've tried to do everything that we could have done, And even that got stopped, and we had to bump it down from 10,000 to 8,500 because we cannot override the county. So as much as you're passionate here, you have to show up there because that's where the law is.
Why ain't the neighbors enforcing it in Glenarden? Why ain't Hasbro enforcing it? Why ain't Boone enforcing
I can't. So one second, because nobody online can hear you. So I appreciate that, and I'll repeat it, and then that'll be the last outburst. I get it. The comment is, well, why isn't Bowie enforcing it? Why isn't other jurisdictions enforcing it? I can tell you that they're not enforcing it. I cannot tell you for sure that that in Bowie, because I'm not there, that they are not enforcing it. So I can't tell you that, you know, John didn't get a ticket yesterday in Bowie or in Cheverly. Can anybody? I don't dispute you, but I cannot tell my code enforcement officer. I don't know what they do in Cheverly. I don't know what they do in Bowie. I don't know if they say, hey, you know what, don't enforce this law, enforce this law. I don't know what they do over there. In here, that's the ethical line that I will not cross. I didn't even talk to him about it. I mean, I wish he would not enforce it, but I can't tell him to not do a job for which he was hired to do.
Mr. President, may I?
One second, Vice President Ferguson.
Oh, yeah, I just want to say this right quick, which something that really bothered me is the statement that the last citizen made about it's the old heads. Yeah, there are a lot of seniors in our community that cannot navigate these streets because they can't see around the vans or the commercial vehicles that's actually on the street. So yes, I am advocating for those old heads because they come to me complaining that I cannot get in and out of my driveway because of these commercial vehicles. So that's an insensitive thing. You talk about division, that is a division right then and there. Because again, we got a lot of seniors in this community who built this community over the 80 years we've been in existence. I've been in this community for 61 years. So yes, I'm going to advocate for them. I'm going to fight for them because again, they do have a right to get in and out of their driveway. They do have a right to be able to park on their street. They do have a right to have their family visit them, and their family don't have to park a block away and walk up to their house. So again, that statement there, you talk about division, and that's clear division when you disrespect the elderly in the community. Thank you, Mr. President.
I do have a question, and you can ask that. Is there any way, because I'm trying to, in my head, figure out how we can work this out, but I can't, there's some hurdles I can't overcome, like this gentleman with the two axles. I can't overcome that. But for lettering, is there any way that you can reduce the lettering if you have a commercial vehicle to 4 inches?
No, it's not. The only thing I can do is put a garage like how y'all want us to do, because y'all want us to waste money now. It's the only thing we can do is do the garage.
I do have a question. Another question is.
And I have a
No.
driveway, which is
Excuse me.
All right. I get it. So, I have another question. As it relates to the county defining a garage, is that different from what do you call those things? Carports.
Yes, because carports are not, they're,
Yeah, so the question is there a difference between, the garage and the carport? And yes, there is a difference. The goal is that it's out of sight. With a carport, it's not wholly enclosed, so you can still see it from the public right away. If you have a garage, you put it in your garage, you shut the door, then you can't see it at all. And that's the subtle difference, but it is a difference.
And this is far-fetched. I know it is. But if I have a carport and put a tarp over it, you can't see it.
you still get fined.
Don't want. So here's is it Hector? Is that your name? Victor. I'm sorry, Victor. So Victor. Yeah. No. So I've given you several chances, right? And I'm trying to be respectful. And I understand your passion, but you cannot keep on interrupting or blurting out. So this is going to be your last warning. I really don't want to remove you. I hope that you stay for the rest of the meeting, but you're going to have to stop blurting out.
Council President, so to answer your question is, I would need to see. I would need to check with the county, talk with my sources there, and see if that's something that can be done. The issue that you find with these car covers is that they blow off and different things like that happen. I don't have a concrete answer for you right now, but I'll be sure to check and get back with you as it relates to that.
Thank you. So he'll come back to us. Again, just trying to brainstorm on what can make, what can work. So, I mean, you got to think outside the box with these laws sometimes. So,
Mr. President,
Councilman Harry.
let me just say this. You're going from bad to worse. You're going from commercial vehicles to having a number of different car covers in the community, which is going to be even more unsightly. The whole goal is to keep the aesthetics of your community and keep the value of your homes up. Now, my thing is this. You buy a home, there's rules and regulations that you got to follow, whether you're in the HOA or not. Nobody's going to spend thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to have the value of your property go down. And that's where we get into trouble when we start doing it. As I always say, I call it the friendship legislation for one or two people. But when I had so many seniors come up here and voice their concern about this situation. Also, with car covers and carports, you cannot build them past the front of your house. That's something that the state, the county does not allow. So that's another situation you're going to have. So car covers was the issue before. That's why we have some people who may have those awnings over the driveway. They got grandfathered in, but no more, because they know, again, it takes away from the aesthetics of your community and it takes away from the value of your homes. That's what we as a council is supposed to be protecting all the citizens in the community, And so my thing is, we going from bad to worse. So I wouldn't even look into that. That isn't something we should even be considering. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Harry. Ma'am, if you just state your name, you don't have to state your ward. Just state your name and. I'm sorry. 1 second. There's a comment from Vice President first.
Good evening. I can say a lot of things. First, your voice, your vote is your voice. We just had an election on May 5th. There are over 6,000 citizens here. Give or take children or maybe some that can't vote. Just say 4,000 could vote, 3,000. Only 704 people voted. And that included in-person and the privilege of mail-in. 704 people. Your vote is your voice. And the other thing is, oftentimes we just don't come and just make legislation and just to be doing something. A lot of times people come to meetings and they complain or they suggest. Over a series of a couple of years, there have been many people coming complaining about not being able to see outside, get past their out of their driveway. I've been torn with the legislation. I've been here since 1959, 66 years. I'm 68 years old. My father was a master builder, construction. We got out here. He picked the lot that he wanted on Glenarden and Fisk because he was doing the job, building some of the houses in Ward 1. He had a commercial truck. He did not park that commercial truck on the street. Again, you're talking 60s. So I just feel some kind of way, first of all, because I can understand he worked with his hands. He died when I was 12. A bulldozer turned over and pinned him, and he died instantly. But he was working hard labor. So for somebody to come and point up here while I'm up here and judging and saying things that's derogatory. He also was a minister, a pastor. I really feel some kind of way about that because, like I said, my father, he worked hard. My mother was a housewife. She never had to work. So I know what it's like to have a father come home and tired and dirty or whatever. But we didn't, he made a way. So I really, for this, I understand the passion of having to pay, to work and feed your family. What's going on, it really bothers me because it seems like it's not a comfortable resolve for you all. But I really, like I said, I really think that, a lot of times it's about coming out and I've, since this legislation come forth, and again, you know, this is county, and you know, we do have to adhere to the laws, but I can count how many times I see this place full. It can be full to voice your opinion. We could all go up there together, like my colleague said, and lobby on behalf of that. But to come here and turn us down like you do, we live here. Like I said, I've been here 66 years, all my life, except for 2 years. And I love this place. And it's not no them or they. You know, if you move in Glenarden, you're buying a house, once you live in Glenarden, you are a Glenardener. I don't care if you've been here for 1 year or 66 years. We all together. So I just, you know, I understand again your passion, but I feel a little offended by being, you know, spoken that way. I mean, even when we were at the election, I mean, we are servants, not slaves. We have feelings. And people have mortgages, and they're paying taxes. Whether you rent, you're paying taxes in your rent. So to say that you're paying our taxes, I just wish, you know, like I said, we can try to get it resolved, but to attack us will do nothing. And so for me, I work hard I'm retired now, I worked as a civil servant for 47 years, but my passion is to work for you guys, work with you guys. I don't know what else to say, because I think that, I do know that to have a truck in your own business or entrepreneur, I mean, this is taking out, that's taking out your household. So while many of us do not agree with that or have compassion for it, that doesn't mean that we are for it. We can't go against the county. And there are municipal, you know, when I go to church, I go all through different places. I see trucks, I mean, ladders, I mean, look like they're, even, you know, RVs. And they're in the county. But they're on the street. So I'm like, you know, but some people are cities, and some people are under the county, and, you know, they're not. But nonetheless, we can't say that they don't get tickets. Maybe they just keep paying them. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
So I have a citizen at the podium, and then I have 2 online that I'll come to right next. Just to add to what Vice President Ferguson said, we volunteer for this. I have a full-time job. Everybody else, well, some people are retired, but there isn't some big salary we're getting for this that we're taking from the citizens and just evil rulers. No, this is something I sacrifice time with my son, my daughter, my wife, my family, doing leisurely things that I could do. I need to work out more, but but I sacrifice a lot of time to volunteer to serve my community. This isn't a get-rich scheme. So with that, ma'am, would you state your name?
First name Xochitl Olvera, and my husband and I have a small business.
Mm-hmm.
We've been here since 2013. I know these laws comes on certain times. They put, I think about 2014, we got a ticket for the same problem because we already had a business. We went to court, nothing happened there. We got dismissed. But now it's getting really bad, like since 3 years and come to now. We have 3 vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Our advertisement is the letters, is the numbers on the vans, because that's how we get our business. We had to remove the van. We have to remove the letters. Well, first, we pay a parking space, a safe parking space. Our vehicles got broken into, all our tools, take them. Because we had to pay somewhere else. I'm sorry. I'm getting really
I understand.
We had to pay. We lost almost everything. Like a year ago, we were struggling to pay our mortgage because we didn't have no business. We used to have 8 people working, including my husband and I. And I was asking my family for mortgage money because I couldn't afford it. We put the letters back in. Now they're telling us we're getting tickets. our business is getting better. I can say that I'm paying the money that I owe now. So I know for me and for my husband, this is really, really bad for our business. They told us before that if we put a cover, we're securing the covers because of the wind. But now they're telling us it doesn't work like that anymore. And we cannot afford to take the letters out because I cannot go back to almost losing our house.
Yeah.
So our business right now is slow everywhere. But we used to do 10 jobs a day. We were down at 1 job a day. And we have a shop. We have to pay either our mortgage and our shop. And we were losing both. So, like you just mentioned, we have to involve ourselves more. Yes, that's a mistake that I've been doing for the last, 10 years. I haven't involved myself, but when I think about a law that is making us lose almost our house, because we did try, they were not charging us too much on the safe spot. They were charging us $150 for the 3 vehicles. We said, oh, that's great. But when they broke our glasses, we replaced glass for vehicles, but they broke the glasses and they took all of our tools. Some tools are $1,000 just to get 1 tool, and they took all of them. That time is, I don't know if you have ever been on a corner that you don't even know what to do, because either you go and break windows to get business, or you pray to God that something is going to change. And for us, it was me who told my husband we need to put the letters back. He was like, but we're going to get in trouble. I was like, yeah, but either we're being in trouble or we're being on the streets. Which one? So I know it's my fault that I convinced my husband, but we got to that point that we didn't want to lose our house, we didn't want to lose our shop, and it was my fault that we had to put the letters. We are doing the covers, and I want to see if we can work something that you say, okay, there has to be certain color of cover, white, certain, I don't know, something to help us. Because a lot of us, like my husband and I, it's not that he works somewhere else, and if I lose my business, he still bring money. It's both of us. It's both of us that work for the same business because we own the business together. So I was thinking about that. We don't want to pay somewhere else. Yeah, we are, and I don't know, some people drive that way, and what is it, Chapel? Queen Chapel. We're paying a house there now to leave one of our vehicles there because they're only two fit on our driveway, cover up and everything. We secure them because if we bought we actually saw the best ratings on covers. They don't blow. So we're paying there, but we're scared that one of the days we're going to go there and, we're not going to see our tools again there. So please help us trying to find something that we can work together, because there's a lot of us getting affected, and especially me.
I have a
I
question.
want to lose my house.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How big is the lettering on your
It
van?
is big, because that's the only advertising we do. One day driveway, a lot of people see the number and they call the business.
Is it possible to shrink it to be in compliant?
We tried that. The first letters we did on a magnet to remove it was not working. According to, because he wanted that. He didn't want to get in trouble. We tried that. The lady that used to do the code enforcement, she saw that we had a little one and it was not working. It was not working for us. She already told us to do the magnets and just remove them, but they don't do magnets big enough to have all those numbers like that the way we have them.
Okay.
And I know our business is, I can say, thanks to God, is great now. I'm almost debt free. Almost.
I do have another question. The fine. Who sets the fine?
The fine is set in the The City of Glenarden ordinance.
So we do have authority over the fine.
Yes.
Okay. Fine is
149.26.
is what is it?
149.30.
140.
No,
Nine.
149.46 is where the fines are in the chart.
46. Okay. And currently, what are the fines?
The fines for commercial vehicle, or you saying
For commercial vehicles?
$200?
Is that all the time, or is it just for the first offense?
It's per offense. So the code says that each offense is a separate offense. So if you have your commercial vehicle out and it's spotted, then that could be a $200 fine. If you bring it back again, it could be a $200 fine.
So it's a $200 fine for every time it's seen.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go for 2 people online, and then I'll come back to you. I'm sorry, Council Clerk. Could you highlight the first one? I can't read that.
Tawan.
Tawan.
How y'all doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm decent. I understand the rules of the code. I understand, that you can't have commercial vehicles over 8,500 pounds. I get all that. The issue, like everybody else states, is that it's kind of hard when you're trying to make money and live. Um, a few of the people that got up and spoke, I actually know them. It, it's difficult on our behalf as people who live around here who don't pay for a HOA and it's being ran like a HOA. I personally, there's no attack or anything or pointing the fingers. I personally don't see how commercial vehicles in a neighborhood makes it a commercial looking situation. Um, when we doing buying houses or selling houses, one of the main important things is the crime in the area, the school zone. Um, if I take my van and go to work, when they come to look at a house, there's no commercial van to look at. I don't necessarily think they care if there's a commercial vehicle in the driveway when they looking to appraise a home. How your yard look, how your house look on the outside, as well as how it looks on the inside, is more important than a van on the street or in the driveway. I actually walked around trying to get some exercise and drove around too. It's not that many commercial vehicles on the street in Ward 1. I can't speak for no other ward, but in Ward 1, it ain't really that many. And this is me driving and walking. Um, I get, you know what I'm saying, that the older people having issues. I personally know an older guy who has like 4 vehicles himself, and it's hard for him to get out. And them his own vehicles. So I don't want to get into a older, younger type thing, but the people are speaking are, no offense, are gonna be here for a little while for the most part. So I mean, I'm not saying no one's more important than the next, but at the same time, we probably been here for some years. We got a good amount of years ahead of us than behind us. So I mean, yes, this county. I know you trying to, president, find a solution, but it's hard to advertise the 4 inches. Like if I'm driving on the street, you're not going to see that at all. So asking that is difficult. For me, hey, can you put the commercial vehicle with the lettering in the driveway? I mean, to me, that's a compromise. Hey, you got lettering on your vehicle, put it in the driveway. But then you talk about garages. I don't think there's not one garage on Ward 1. So that wouldn't even be necessary. Like, that's not even feasible or something that you can even say, hey, put in the garage. There's no really garages in Ward 1. The most you're going to get is a carport. And that's basically the same thing for over there in Ardmore area, too. The newer houses, yeah, they got garages. But the older ones, they don't. So it's like we sitting here, and I know it's saying it's a county thing. I mean, I tried to look and didn't see it. I mean, I know that he reading it off a piece of paper, but I mean, I feel like if you can get a county rep to come down to one of these meetings and, have this conversation or point out to us where it's at, and, I think that'd be great. Because, I mean, it's kind of hard to know when a meeting is or when they having a meeting or how to show up for a meeting. Like, I mean, I barely knew about this meeting, to be real with you. So yeah, it could be a better job of promoting the meeting. When they was pushing for the voting, oh man, it was hella stuff for the voting. But meetings, it's kind of like they put the little sign out, and when you're driving, you ain't really paying attention to the little sign on the street. So you're not gonna get the participation that you're looking for, because it's a sign with less than, like, that's like, again, less than 4 inches on the sign. So you're not seeing it. So I mean, it comes to a point where I feel like, I mean, it has to be like a happy medium. Like, no one's going to really get what they want, but a compromise for people who pay taxes on their house and don't live in HOA. I feel like there should be a happy medium or a compromise. Better, better yet, a compromise more than a happy medium for the citizens as well as Glenarden. That's all I got.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Jones?
Thank you, Council President. And honestly, I do get it. I can see across the county, across the state of Maryland, across, I guess, all of the states, that now in the city of Glenarden, we have a working class group of people. Before everybody else, when my family moved here in 1964, it was more administrative. But now across the county, across the state, across all states, there's a working class of people, working group class of people. And I believe that the law needs to be changed because of that, And the only way we can get that law changed is like this gentleman just mentioned. I think that we need to invite our county leaders to meetings such as this and invite you all back to listen to what they have to say. At this point, the county rep for District 5, in which we live in, is Shayla Adams, but she's new. I would suggest to the county.
She's going up for election in June.
Yeah, June.
So hopefully she gets elected in June. So
right.
One of your neighbors is running for District 5. It will represent us, but go ahead.
Yeah, but that by that person coming on new in this position, I believe that the council would benefit by inviting the at-large persons, Calvin Hawkins and Jolene Ivy, to come in and give us some insight, since they've been on the county for a while, as to how we can go about getting this changed so it can be conducive to the working class folks in this area and the areas of Cheverly, the areas of Bowie, the areas of Hydesville and Comer Manor. Because there's a group of now we have working class people. Not saying that you're not diminishing who you are, but knowing that, I was a working class. I worked for Verizon for 43 years as a technician out in the street. So I understand, getting out there working every day and having to I used to bring my company vehicle home. So we definitely need to band together and get our county reps on board, and then from there we can move to the state level as to what we need to do in doing something to adjust the parameters for commercial vehicles in our neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Guillaume?
Thank you, Council President. Okay. I've tried to stay quiet, and apologies for my tardiness. I'm sorry. Bring it closer. Okay. La familia de mi padre es de España. La familia de mi madre es de Haiti. My father's side of the family is from Spain. My mother's side is from Haiti. So I'm a child of immigrants. Okay, I say that because in addition to all of that, I also work with policymakers. I'm not just a legislator, but I also work with policymakers. That's what I do for a living. I also want to say that when my mother was pregnant with me, while I was in her stomach, she experienced homelessness. And then when she finally was in New York, we also were on welfare. We had people bang on, we had the sheriff come to evict us. So I come from a community that I don't forget. I come from a community that I love. And by the grace of God, I am blessed to live in this city and blessed to provide for my children in a way where they won't face eviction or won't face being on the streets. I take, and I don't want to speak for everybody here, but I'll just speak for myself. I take this role very seriously. And the part of me oftentimes that tries to work when I'm trying to pass laws or introduce laws or vote on laws is the part of me that's the age of this little one right here in the black. So I feel her. I feel all of you, but this is who I see because that was my experience. If you all have the time to even go back to when we started looking at legislations around this, you'll see that I was one of, if not the most vocal person about this. I am unapologetic about where I stand. I think everybody knows where I stood and still stand as far as commercial vehicles. As far as I even said, are we willing to deal with comfort, visibility, or foreclosure? Because people have to work. I also said that, yes, there are things that are the law, but slavery was also the law. I said that. But I was still respectful about it, but I said that. So there are things that we worked hard for. We passed legislation, we stopped legislation, we tried to find a compromise. I think everybody here could see that, could attest to that. You heard it from several people before me who talked about we try to make it past 10, try to make it 10,000, try to say put it in the garage. A lot of the ideas that are being discussed were brought up, they were mentioned. And I think what's happening right now, my colleague who spoke before me, Councilwoman Jones, spoke to this, is about there's what we can do, because as much as I was pushing, and I think the administration can attest to how much I was pushing, I was looking for, like, is there a lot that they can park their vehicles in? Is there something that we can do? I looked, and I was like, look, is there something? Because I thought about how I was when I was her age. That's what drives me. But at the same time, our code enforcement officer was doing his research and he saw that Prince George's County had their rules, which Council President mentioned and others mentioned, and my colleague Councilman Herring mentioned, and Council Vice President Ferguson. And so here it is. Now, as much as I was going back and forth, in our guidelines, our charter, our city constitution, it says that we have to abide by what Prince George's County says. We can't go above, but we can go lower. Prince George's County said 85. We were saying 10,000, that is, 85,000, 10,000. And even with that, we were still trying to find a way, but knew that we couldn't get around that. Now, I understand, because there is something, and I'll stand on it all 10 toes. There are things called dog whistle legislation. And dog whistle legislation is legislation that is intended to keep certain demographics out. That's what I say. So when we think about what Councilwoman Jones mentioned about having our representative from the county come here, I think it's even bigger than that. That's a start, so I do agree. But I also feel that the Prince George's County Council needs to see you all. They need to see us with you all, those of us who support you. Because what happens is you have one representative, just like there are 7 of us, there's 7 folks. You could have one person come who'll come and fight, but they still have 6 other people. I forgot how many people are in Prince George's, 11, right? So you have one person, but you have 10 other people that are only going to hear from that one person, but they're not going to see all of you. So I say all of that, yes. So I say all of that. For me, I love my family, I love my husband, but for me, Google is my best friend. Google and look up when the Prince George's County meetings are. Make them look back at this rule that they established. Because it's easy, of course, I don't want to say it's easy, because I probably would have said the same thing too. Yes, Hyattsville may not be following what Prince George's County is saying, but then you don't want to play with that, because at any given day, they can get caught up too. We fought for us to go over the amount, some of us, the majority of us. But I will tell you, Prince George's County Council, they are the ones that we need to advocate to change this. So I just want to say that, and I give back my time.
Okay. Mr. Foster, and then we'll go to Mr. Arroyo Montgomery.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Anthony Foster. I live in Ward 3. I was sitting here kind of listening to all the comments, and I echo what Councilmember Guillaume, Councilman Ferguson, and all the others, including Jones, said. I work for county government. I see how it goes on behind the scenes. They have, if you go to a county council meeting with the same fire and energy, you connect with people in South County, the other places, you'll have their ear. And that will translate into some type of legislation changes. Today is a case in point. I listened to the council session today. They had person after person coming up lobbying in favor of their nonprofit organization. That wasn't by accident. Someone did that and organized behind the scenes to make that happen. So guess what? Now they got the ear of the council. That translates into discussions behind the scenes to say, hey, we need to provide legislation to address this. Well, I have good news for you. We have an election coming up. We have a new county executive next month. We have a new council Ward 5 person. Next year, most of those seats will be up for re-election. So if you don't get the results that you find that are needed in the short term, your voice will be heard next year again. Now, I have good news. I support the legislation for the speed bumps. Is people flying through our streets. So we're looking forward to that. In walking around the city, I noticed that the city signs are kind of inconsistent. You have some signs that say with the G with the logo, some are just plain signs. I don't know if there's a way to kind of make them uniform so we are one city. So Glenarden Parkway in Winmore Town Center, you just have a Glenarden Parkway. You don't have like the G that you see like in Ward 1, if that makes sense. So you probably haven't noticed it, but you'll notice it as you look at the street signs. Like, wait a minute, am I in the county or the city? So also with the speed humps, I don't know what the time frame for installation is. That's something that maybe could clarify at a future date once you have a contract awarded. And also with the contract with Flock for the security cameras, that's a positive. It will supplement law enforcement activities and make it visible to the community that they can't act up, but it'll be recorded. Lastly, with the gold room rules, I saw some minor typos, which I could email, formatting issues. I won't go through the details now. I could email the county clerk with those, and you could take them under consideration. But all in all, thank you for listening and being an open ear.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Arroyo Montgomery.
Yes, good evening, Council President, council members, and citizens. My name is Richard Arroyo Montgomery. I am a homeowner in Ward 3. Just have a couple of questions with regards to the legislation on the agenda tonight. Firstly, I mean, we've heard a lot about the working vehicles. Is there any lot or something in the city of Glenarden that may be able to be used or designated as a parking lot for these vehicles? You know, probably, you know, homeowners probably pay a small fee to park on these lots. And if not, you know, what about maybe building an enclosed garage? You know, if maybe an open parking lot goes against the county regulations, maybe consider building a parking lot, maybe, you know, an enclosed parking lot in which, you know, these persons with, you know, with these utility vehicles, you know, can park in them again for a fee. And who knows, maybe even open it up to just regular parking, you know, and gain some revenue from that to pay for the building of the garage. You know, I just think that, you know, there has to be a happy medium somewhere. You know, I mean, you've heard from a lot of the homeowners. There have been a lot of homeowners. In fact, I thought this meeting tonight was only about the utility, you know, the vehicles, because we've heard so much about them. But I mean, I think there has to be a happy medium somewhere. You know, there are a lot of homeowners here who depend, you know, on their trucks, you know, for income, you know, to pay their mortgage, as we've all heard tonight, you know, to feed their families. So, I mean, I really think, you know, that there has to be a happy medium somewhere. And I think much more consideration needs to be given to this. Again, you know, maybe consider an empty lot somewhere and convert it into a parking lot, or again, you know, convert it to a garage, you know, and an enclosed garage, you know, so that the vehicles are not seen. Just food for thought. And with regards to the speed humps, I know that there's a couple of them being placed on Glenarden Parkway. It looks like it may just be a couple, and that's on Glenarden Parkway within the Woodmore Town Center community. Glenarden Parkway is one of those target streets that needs to be seriously looked at. And so I wanted to know, what is the difference between the Watts profiles and the premium rubber speed humps, if there's any difference? If premium rubbers are temporary speed humps, will those be replaced later with permanent speed humps? I don't know. Just questions I'm putting out there, even if someone on the council can answer those questions. And then lastly, is there an opportunity for the Woodmore Town Center HOA to partner with the city of Glenarden, or be involved in the discussions with the city of Glenarden as to the placement of the speed humps to ensure that they are properly placed, since we are very, very familiar with the speeding, you know, within this community? You know, some input from us, you know, I think will be valuable to the placement of the speed humps. So those are my questions, and I will just appreciate a response from any other council members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arroyo Montgomery. As it relates to the type of speed humps, is it speed humps or speed bumps?
Tomato.
Okay, all right. As it relates to the type, I'll let the city manager speak on that.
So the watts profile are similar to what you do see on Glenarden Parkway. And some of the speed humps that we currently have, it describes the distance and size of the actual speed humps. The temporary speed humps, which is recommended for the pilot program, are just that. They're to help reduce the speed of traffic, typically in areas where speeding is not over a certain mile per hour. However, I believe it's recommended, particularly in certain wards, to just see its viability if it's effective. I believe, and I would defer to one of the other council members here, because it was shared that previously, I believe speed humps were placed in a particular ward, and there were some complaints for them and had to remove them. So I believe the thought behind the temporary speed humps is to test the effectiveness and how well residents receive them. And then I believe there would be a plan further from there.
Did you have anything to add? Okay. Yeah, so I believe that Mr. Royal Montgomery, the speed humps or bumps in Wilmore Town Center would be permanent. So Councilman Herring and I had resolutions that were pretty much similar. So we just combined the two. But I do know that there were some places, I think in Ward 1, which will have the temporary ones, that will have temporary ones, but the ones, I believe all the ones in Ward 3 that are going to be erected will be permanent. Councilwoman Guillaume? Go ahead.
I just wanted to respond also to the point that citizen Richard Arroyo Montgomery made about the vacant lot. Or looking for a lot of sorts. I think the city manager is here, but back then he was not the city manager. But this had to be like close to a year, if not a little over a year ago, where I even suggested trying to do something like that, where it would enable the city to generate revenue, but also provide a solution to folks who have commercial vehicles to park. But I don't recall what transpired from that. But I do want to say that is, again, you bringing that up just reminded me, because again, I want citizens to know that we really were thinking about different options of trying to solve this, because my heart goes with the working families. Thank you.
I'm sorry, because I don't think I heard one of my questions was not answered.
Which one was that?
With regards to getting some input from the Wilmore Town Center HOA, because I just want to make sure that speed humps within this community are strategically placed, because I know in certain parts of Geaton Park Place, you start getting into more residential where speed humps may not necessarily be needed, and perhaps those could be better placed in other areas that will need them.
So thank you for the question, and you can. I know we're running out of time, but I, and city manager can talk offline. I know CPJA did a study to figure out the placement of them, and they're the engineers. But we did hear from people from the community. So I don't mind hearing from you, but I just would not isolate it just to the HOA. I would probably want to hear from all the citizens so that everyone's voice could be heard. But we certainly welcome your input as a resident of Wilmore Town Center and as the HOA president. So you can we can connect offline.
I appreciate that. That's fine. Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. President, I just want to say that the city manager did submit a map of all the locations of the speed humps, so I think you need to share that with Mr. Arroyo Montgomery and any other citizen that want to see, because I went through it and I noticed that there were places where we needed speed humps that there wasn't any. So it's very important that if you know your community, reach out to them to see where they're going to put it, because once they put them down, they're down. Especially if you're doing permanent. Temporary we can move, but yeah, definitely.
That's a good point. Mr. Royal Montgomery, I actually posted that in the Woodmore Town Center Facebook page. Have you been able to see it?
I don't engage on that page. If you can send it to maybe the board's email, I would greatly appreciate that.
I said it again?
If you can email it to the board's email address, I would greatly appreciate that, because I don't engage on that page.
Okay, yeah, I tried to post it there to get people to come out to speak on it, but I'll
Yes, sir.
definitely can forward it to you directly so that you can see it as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. I'm sorry, so I see. All right, so I'm going to go with the hand online. I'm going to go with the gentle lady that's standing up, and then Ms. Wilson, then I'll come to you, okay? Council Clerk, can you help me with that name, please? Miss Erica Thomas.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this robust discussion. My apologies for not being able to be in person. I have a little one that is running a fever. I wanted to thank you, Council President, for posting. I did see the map of the speed bumps, and I just had a question because I saw where you said one street should have been labeled Glenarden Parkway, but where I live coming into Woodmore Town Center from Glenarden Parkway, in by the little roundabout. My question is there because there are many nights that we are awakened out of our sleep because someone has hit the curb because they're speeding around. My neighbor that lives next to me, his tree is dead because someone actually ran up in his yard and hit the tree because they come around that little roundabout, the little curve really fast. And then I'm just afraid that, there are quite a few littles that live right there in the area. My son, the neighbor 2 doors down from me has a daughter, and then Mr. President, I know you stay there and you have small children. It's just the way that they come around that little curve, and I couldn't tell by the map if that little curve was to get a speed bump. If you could clarify that for me.
I think the current plans and the rationale was to have one maybe about 100 feet away from the roundabout, with the thought being that, which defies what you're saying, that they will slow down on the roundabout, but what you're saying is that they don't, which will make that a problem. So it's about 100 feet from the roundabout, but there's nothing at the roundabout or before the roundabout. So maybe we could Mr. Simpson and I can talk of possibly, if it's within the budget, to adding one probably before the roundabout to slow them down, as opposed to after the roundabout.
We've had a gentleman on a motorcycle come around the curve and flipped. And we thought that he was injured. We called the police, and before the police could come, that man pushed that motorcycle and then jumped on it and left. And I could only assume that, whatever reason, but I'm just afraid something is going to happen right there, because that's where it's either going out of Woodmore Town Center, they fly going out, or they're flying coming in. And I just wanted to put it on your radar, just like I am a big advocate for something right there, because I'm very afraid that something is going to happen or that someone would end up in my living room.
All right. Thank you for the feedback. That was the purpose of posting it in that page, so that we could get feedback from citizens who live there. So thank you.
And one other question to Councilman Herron's point. So will, as far as you all saying that you would engage with the residents over here, will there be an engagement where we can make our voice heard and before the final decision? Because like Councilman Herron just said, once they're down, and it's like we can't do anything about it. And I'm grateful that you guys are talking about putting speed bumps out. I will be the first to admit that sometimes I do fly home. I can admit that, and so that will even help me. But not. I don't. I just want to know that we'll have some time to really sit down and have our voices heard, especially before you place the speed bumps, where we can't do anything about it.
Yes. And that was the intent of me posting it on the page. I want to get people out to voice your opinion. When we vote for I think we're voting for the contract basically next week. And that's just to engage in putting them up. But the placement of them can be adjusted. So there's still time to make your voices heard. And we will definitely listen and go from there. I will say, though, out of all the residents, there probably will not be consensus. So would it be, not consensus, or probably not be...
agreement.
Everyone may not agree. So we'll try to listen to everyone and put it and combine information that we get back from the engineers and proceed accordingly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, did you have something? Councilman Harry?
Let me just say, and that's one of the issues, that's one of the things why we bought it as a pilot program and putting temporaries down, because you may put one down that may not work there, and you may want to move it. But once you put it down permanently, it's there. So that's what I'm saying, temporaries to see if it works. If it doesn't, you can move it somewhere else. You can move it, because the citizens knows best what's going through their neighborhood. We can just guess. But again, once you put it permanent down, it's down. And taking it back up is going to be very expensive. So that's why I was saying, let's go with the temporary to see if it works in that location, and if not, we can move it somewhere else to see if it works there. Then you got a better gauge on where you actually need a permanent one at. So that was the whole.
So my question to Councilman Herring, because that makes perfect sense to me, is that an option?
Yes.
Even for where the area that I'm proposing, like the roundabout,
That's,
like before
yeah, you may must talk to Councilman Curtis, because I know he wants permanent, right? On Glenarden Parkway.
I am open to anything. If citizens want a temporary one, fine. I don't know if we have enough money in that.
I'm okay with the permanent. My question was more with the temporary. If no one wanted to get one where I'm proposing either inside or outside, like could we get a not permanent one to kind of help the,
I think so. I think that's something. So yes. So as I said, there's still time. And even if we decided, hey, we don't want to put a permanent one right before the circle and go with a temporary one to see if that will help the slow down traffic, then we could do that before we make it permanent.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And did you have something to say? Vice President Ferguson?
City Manager Simpson. Does the contract that we have for the speed bumps cover a certain number of them being made, or can we add to it, or if we add to it, if the contract increases the amount?
Well, yes, the cost approximately, permanent is approximately one number, and then the temporary is a little less. We do have a certain number of funds available for street work, sidewalk work, and to include the speed humps. So once we are able to determine exactly how many, then we would need to make the necessary adjustments to make sure we can accommodate that based upon and I think it's roughly $1.3 million that we have for the street and sidewalk work, which will also help encompass some of that. We do have additional funding as well based upon the will and wish of the council relative to taking care of any of the speed bumps. So that number will fluctuate based upon how many speed bumps and the types that we choose to use.
Is there a cutoff date for adding on?
I would say we have some flexibility. We will have contractors, as we know, that will be beginning other street and sidewalk work that has already been passed. Depending on how quickly we can get the approval from council and follow the necessary steps, we can get that accommodated.
Thank you.
And there's a question from council.
Yeah. City Manager Simpson, I didn't see, just like the gentleman came to the podium earlier and said between 2nd Street and 5th Street, we definitely need speed humps. So I think we need to look at those areas, because I have a neighbor right on 2nd Street at the corner that has been asking for speed bumps or something because of the speed between, I guess when the light turns green at Bright Seat Road, they fly up Glenarden Parkway until they get the first speed hump on 7th Street.
Yes, ma'am.
Right before 7th Street, there's a speed hump, and then beyond 7th Street at that vacant lot that's there, there's another speed hump. We need something in between Bright Seat Road and 5th Street, as the gentleman said.
Yes, ma'am. I'll note it.
Thank you.
I was going to suggest 4th Street. I did have a couple of residents the day of election mention that traffic on 4th Street and then a blind spot on the right side, because it's on coming out of 4th Street from the right side. So I'm supposed to be meeting with them next week to get some more clarity on that. So 4th Street was one of the ones that I was gonna. That's why I was asking. Was there a certain amount of time you had to have all the streets in?
Again, I believe it's contingent upon we're going to have the contractor out if we want to take advantage of that and confirm those numbers. And again, making sure we're following the necessary protocols via resolution to whatever adjustments. So as long as we're able to do that, I think there's a window of opportunity to be able to capture that as well. I think it's just a matter of walking through. I know we've met with representatives for Ward 1 and Ward 3, so we can certainly discuss those options as well for Ward 2. I'd look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, you just state your name and then you have 5 minutes.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Isha Randall. I am new to the community. We just purchased our home back in February. So we love it here. But I want to echo what I believe Miss Erica, the last lady who spoke, about the speed humps. I found it on Facebook just before this meeting. So I made it a point to come. Didn't know where it was at because it just said meeting. Stopped at the library, but then found it that it was here. I'm so sorry that I was late. But so I live right on Glenarden Parkway. As soon as you go through the circle, and very close to you, I believe. So yes, that's an extremely high traffic type of area, through traffic. I believe a lot of people don't even realize that that's like a residential area. They're trying to rush to Costco or whatever, and I get it. But the map that was on Facebook, I did not really see one, you know, right when you come into the community off of that circle. And I'm not saying it should just be limited to us, but it seemed like there were way too many other speed bumps maybe where they didn't need to be. I think high traffic areas should get priority if it's a budget situation. You know, if it's a side street that might be a cul-de-sac or something that a lot of people don't go through unless they just live there, chances are they're not going to fly there. So if maybe we make it a point to point out the high traffic areas. I have 4 children and my elderly parents moved in temporarily. So it's very scary to just park my vehicle. Yep. It's I've been almost hit a couple times. So that is my only you know, big red flag. And I just hope that I'm happy to hear that we're getting speed bumps. Hopefully we can strategically place them together. It doesn't have to be through HOA, just residents, that's my priority, you know. Yep. And I really feel for everybody dealing with the whole commercial vehicle situation. I hope that we can find a compromise and stand with you guys. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, to your point, your neighbor who lives diagonal from you, his son's car was totaled at least twice and hit 3 times. And so there's definitely a need for speed bumps. So we'll take it into consideration and yeah. All right. Madam Clerk, you have to help me with that because I can't see. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Wilson. Thank you. I think she likes.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. President, for remembering me.
Thank you, Council Clerk.
Okay, I would like to discuss, well, actually just tell you how I feel about the resolution dealing with the camera, the flock camera. I'm not in favor of that because I see that it is a grant. However, there's an annual fee, annual recurring fee of $16,500 over a 2-year subscription term. So I guess we'll be paying that. So that would be an expense to us. But I'm not in favor of it because I think that it does invade the privacy. I think that we have enough cameras in our city. I have voiced my opinion previously about us not looking like DC. I don't want us to be so camera. People need to have some freedom, and they need to be able to live where they live. Okay, so I don't want anybody seeing me go home, seeing me leave home. I don't think that's anybody's business but mine. Okay, so the next thing that I'd like to address is I'd like the council to remember why the ordinance was brought to life concerning the parking, the commercial vehicles in the city. You had senior citizens come here, and senior citizens to talk to representatives to say, I'm having difficulty getting out of my driveway. That was the real purpose of that ordinance. So let us please not forget the seniors, because they are citizens as well, and they have been paying their taxes as well for a long time. So let's not discriminate against the seniors. Please remember them. Please don't forget, yes, we might have a working class citizens now, but we also have a class of people who have lived here for a long time and who would like to be able to get around. They like to be able to leave home. They like to be able to come back to their home and have some place to park. Some of them have to go to doctor's appointments. They have to get out. So please do not forget about your seniors. Not very much was said here tonight about seniors. A lot of defense, a lot of ideas trying to see how we can work the working class in. Let us not forget about the retired class. People who are seniors who are very active, who want to go places, who want to do things, who want people to visit them. Please do not forget about them in your decisions, because they do pay taxes. And years they've been here. So I would think that they should be able to reap some benefits at this point in time in their lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. So I do want to point out, and again, this will be at the vote of the council. So the flock safety is not to invade anybody's privacy. It's not to spy on people. What we hear from our residents is that one, our police department needs help, and two, this is a part of 21st century policing in that it does more than license plate reading, but it's a license plate reader to help police officers. The data is 100% controlled by us. There's an audit tool for people who go in to capture, a license plate, or let's say that there is, I won't put this on anybody. Let's say Jane Doe's daughter is missing in Bowie. And we have the license plate as an Amber Alert, the license plate number 1234. When that license plate, if that person who was kidnapping that girl was going through the city of Glenarden, Flock camera has the capacity to read that license plate and alert authorities that, hey, that missing child is in the city of Glenarden. And that child is on, 9102 Glenarden Parkway. And that, as the representative said before, this system has enabled police to recover over 1,000 missing children. It helps solve 2,200 crimes a week. There's an audit tool related to it. This is not, the big brother spying on people. This is a policing mechanism that will greatly help our police department. The two cameras I know we have in the city, one on 704 and one on Bright Seat Road, those are not necessarily, they take a picture when you speed, but that doesn't do the exact same thing. The materials can be made available. I think it has been made available, but Mr. Simpson has put out more information if you want to read up on the safety and security protocols of Flock. But I just don't want there to be this misconception that somehow we want to spy on our citizens. That is not it. That is false. So I encourage everybody, you can research the company. They can help stop crime before it happens. It can help recover stolen vehicles. So the chief has talked plenty of times about, and Captain Robinson has talked plenty of times about stolen vehicles that are left in the city. Well, if those stolen vehicles are come in the city, then a license plate reader can pick it up, and the police can be alerted that those cars are in the city. And so hopefully we can capture whoever's stealing those cars and record that activity. But I just encourage people. I know everybody's not going to be for it. I'm just encouraging people to do the necessary research to learn more about the system and what it can do to help our police department. That's fine, and I will allow you, since I've allowed everybody else, but they can't hear you back there. So I will ask you to come back to the podium. And Chief, if you have information that I don't have, and Mr. Simpson, you help answer these questions.
I'm not quite sure how does that work, that if it picks up that there's a stolen car that has traveled through the city, how would the police department know that it is in the city?
Well, it's an alert. So let's say I stole a car, right? And there's a license plate reader on, let's say, Glenarden Parkway. Well, if I get that alert, then I can see that the car is in the vehicle. The last known place was, let's say, I said 9108 Glenarden Parkway. So I can dispatch a patrol car to at least in that area to see if I see the two-door brown Bronco that was stolen out of DC.
So why couldn't it just go through the city? I'm not understanding.
Excuse me. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm not understanding how that would help anyone to know that it is still in the city. I heard what you said. I did hear what you said, but that does not tell me that it is in the city. It could have been passing through the city, and I just think that you didn't, there's a cost involved. So who pays that cost?
So I'm gonna answer both questions.
Okay, go ahead.
So you are correct. There's no guarantee that that Bronco stayed in the city, but what the chief can do is dispatch it just in case it did. And even if it's out of the city, at least we know its last known whereabouts. And so that I know that they could have probably went up Jeff Road and hit 704. I know they could have kept on going down Glenarden Parkway and possibly, I mean, there's many avenues that they could have taken. They could have stayed in the city or they could have left. But at the very least, the chief could say, hey, check it out. Hold on, let me
Go ahead,
finish.
I'm sorry. Go
See
ahead.
if they're still in the city. If they're not, hey, just to let you know, in the 2-mile block radius, we just got a hit that this vehicle was was at this location. So if you are on duty in this area, please be on the lookout. It is actively in the area.
So I'm sorry,
and
but you finished.
And I'm gonna answer your second question, and I'll let you go again.
Okay.
As it relates to the cost, so this $40,000 helps with the cost. Yes, it's a 2-year license agreement, so you pay that $16,000, and then in 2 years we'll be on the hook to pay that again. So we can either, pay it out of our coffers, or we can get another grant that can help with that cost. Now, is there a 100% guarantee that we're going to get a grant? No, there is not.
So I just want you to make it clear to the citizens that that would be a cost, a possible
Yes,
cost
ma'am. It's a possible
to
cost.
the city.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because that's not what's clear.
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked the question, because
Okay,
it can
and-
be a grant, or it'll come right out of our pockets.
It'll
but it's
come
no
right out of our
guarantee
pockets,
that
right.
it's a grant.
Right, it'll come right out of our
I'm
pockets.
sorry, Chief is shaking his head, so I might be wrong on that. So let me just finish this question. I'll let you ask one more.
Okay.
Chief, did you have anything to add to that?
I can clarify once you.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Okay, so is that the flop camera? Is that one that's right down on 202? I'm not on 202. When in Glenarden Parkway, just when we
don't have them yet.
Just a minute.
I'm
When
sorry.
you're coming from that direction, when you're coming from Seat Pleasant area, and you come down this way, there's what I'm thinking is a flop camera. It's one on 202 also. Is that a flock camera that you're speaking of?
No, that is not a flock camera. That is a speed camera on 704.
And what is that on 202?
On 202.
That's speed also? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't see the one on 202.
No, because my reason for asking that is that if that's what a flock camera is, then why would we need one down here?
Yeah,
But you answered
that's
that.
Not, yeah, correct.
Okay.
That is not a flock camera.
But thank you.
Thank you. Chief.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Ms. Wilson brought some good points. Just for some clarification, the flock camera, basically what the camera does, Prince George's County and all major police departments, Prince George's County, Washington, D.C., Fairfax County, Prince Williams County, they have a real-time center, and these cameras tie into the real-time centers. We use Prince George's County Communication Center. So once we get the flock cameras like a lot of other municipalities have, Capitol Heights, District Heights, Seat Pleasant, it's a system called Fuchsias. So the cameras tie in through the Fuchsias system. So once the flock cameras get tied into that system, it allows us to get that information through the real-time center, as the president was saying earlier. So for example, he used the car that we got an Amber Alert for with the individual that might have a child in the car. If that car comes into the vicinity of Glenarden, the dispatcher automatically gets the hit real time, and they share the information with us. That system ties in with DC and Virginia. That's the way police department shares information across the DMV area. You have to be tied into the system. And that's why most of the municipalities, because we are in the 21st century and moving forward, it's called technology and it's called moving forward. and that's where you move forward, and that's technology to help police departments advance. And so I'm trying to get to that as the chief of police for the city of Glenarden, advance. So that's what we're trying to do. The city is growing, so we're trying to grow. If you look across the city, I think somebody gave us a different population. Of course, the population, when I came here, they said on the record was 6,100. Somebody said 6,900. My police department is still 15 people on the street. So we need different resources. So that's the way how we operate. We need the technology. We need to be tied in. We use Prince George's County dispatcher. So we need to be in tune with what's going on so we can relate, because we use their dispatcher. If we have the dispatcher and don't know what's going on, that keeps us out of the loop. And since we tied in with the county, they handle all our major crime scenes, because the only thing we do have in the city of Glenarden is patrol. So it's a great tool. It's paid for by the grant. Once we get Red Speed up and running, all the proceeds from Red Speed, that income supplements paying for it in the future. If we don't, from the proceeds from Red Speed, part of that money goes toward paying for police initiatives like that. We also have grants that pay for it, so several different ways that it's paid for, just like it's paid for in other municipalities. So using the city funds is an option that's down the list of things. So basically, we're just trying to get in compliance with other municipalities and other police departments and move our police department forward, like the city is moving forward. So that's where we are in reference to that. So it won't. It might be a cost to the city, but most likely it won't be a cost to the city. But it will advance our city and keep us on par with the other cities that's growing in the state of Maryland and Prince George's County. Thank you.
All right, I see 3 hands online and 1 in here. Are there any more? We're about to close it up. Any more in-house someone speak? All right, so this is my last one. And so there's 3 ahead. No, wait, there's 3 ahead of you. That's fine. Okay, so your legs might get tired. Oh, you're going. I'm good. All right. Ms. Diop?
Please turn your mic on.
Thank you. Sorry, I'll repeat myself. So I see 3 hands online, and there's 1 hand in-house. So I will close it out with the 4 that I have. So we'll go with the 3 online first, and then we'll close out with the 1 hand that's in the building. So first up is Miss Diop. Forgive me if I got your name wrong.
Sorry, trying to get off mute. Thank you so much for calling on me. I just wanted to also, I think, just echo a lot of what the neighbors said earlier. You know, I myself live on Glenarden Parkway, and I've actually had a car crash into my car, almost into my home, off of the street, as well as the mailbox next to my house has been crashed into, and then right across the street, one of my neighbor house was almost ran into, but thankfully the tree was there. So looking at the map, I did not see where the speed bump was going to be after the community center. Where the tennis court is, it's just a little bit confusing. I'm not sure if it's the green, the brown, or the purple dots. So, my concern is just trying to make sure that, again, the sites that has had the most accidents, and like one of the other neighbors said, the high traffic areas are being given priority, especially that area where we've had at least 3 accidents just maybe within 20 to 30 feet of each other. So I just wanted clarification on that layout.
Great question. So off memory, so there is a speed bump, and I know specifically there in Wilmore Town Center, there's speed bumps where there have been 2 accidents. There's one right before you get to the gentleman's house who's had his son car crashed into. 3 times. And that's right in between Miss Erica's house and his house. And then there's another one on Glenarden Parkway. I don't know your address. You don't have to say it. But it is close to the area where a car ran into the house. So that will be one. Sorry. I'm trying to get it up now. 1 second.
Yeah, I did see one that's close to my house, but I feel as though it's further out. And like some homeowners that shared before, when the traffic sort of turn into that area, people pick up speed right after where the bump is. So I'm just concerned, I would prefer it to just be a little bit closer up, either by the mailbox. I know that someone has suggested to try to avoid someone's driveway. I don't believe the mailbox has a driveway there, but at least in that area, because again, it's really a triangle between my home, where the mailbox is, and where the home across the street that got ran into. And again, if it wasn't for my car in the driveway, the car that ran into my yard would have driven right into my home. So, and I also have small children that play outside. So if it can either be in that area that's close to it, would be helpful, or even right before they turn onto, I think that's Easton Street, something closer to that site as well, would be more helpful.
Yes, and thank you. And I believe there is one right after the mailbox. I'm having computer problems at the worst possible time. So I was trying to pull it up, but are you on the?
Yeah, because I saw a green and then I saw orange, so I wasn't sure which one is the speed bump. I assumed the green was the speed bump, and that one was just further out before where we would prefer it.
Screen, please. So you're online? Yes. Okay. All right, we'll try to share it right now and show you where they are real quick.
Okay.
Is this the third one? Is that one more time, sir?
Yes. Those two are Woodland Town Center. So
Do you have a pointer? I'm gonna have to come over there. No. The red is the stop signs. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We're not gonna go anywhere. All right. So with Glenarden Parkway, so this is where I said, can I make this bigger? Yeah. All right, there we go. This is where I said that the Smith View was mislabeled. That's actually Glenarden Parkway. So there's one right here, right before Sir Michael. There's one right here. I think the mailbox is right around here, where the turn comes in. The issue has been the turns, because people try to keep the same speed, and with those turns, they lose control. So we try to get it with a speed bump here. There's a speed bump here. And then further down, which is what I was talking about, there's a speed bump. Oh, I'm sorry. There's a speed bump right here. And I think, was that it? I think there's another one. Is there another one? No, I don't think there's another one. I think that's the last
Okay,
one.
if the orange one is a speed bump, then that's perfect because that's the exact area that I was referring to. So I just wasn't sure if that was just some kind of other labeling since the other ones were green. But if that's the speed bump, then I think that works out perfectly because again, the 3 accidents happened right around there.
Online, I said that was red. Clearly, I'm colorblind. That looks more to be orange, but forgive my eyes. And then I think Miss Erica Thomas had mentioned possibly having one further down this road before you get to the roundabout. Now, as we talked earlier on Sir Michael, this is the roundabout. The theory was putting something here. The explanation was at the roundabout people are slow, but clearly people are not slow. And so there's a speed bump here, and another speed bump right here. Now, as it relates to, I think this is Geeden Park Place, even though this is a roundabout, there has been a crash down here as well because people hit that hill, and there have been a few accidents down here, and where they're flying down here and not catching that curb and running into trees and people's homes. So there's a speed bump going down in there and another speed bump coming out all the way to you get all the way out of it. And yep.
Thank you. My second question is, I know another resident had mentioned about placement and us being notified of where they're going to be. Will there be like flag indicators to get like a real visual before these are put up?
Mr. Simpson?
I don't believe there'll be flag indicators. However, the area will be marked. Miss Utility will need to come out, mark the locations. The contractor, NZI, they're pretty good. They're going to come out, and once we confirm the locations, they'll do a sort of a marking with, spray paint, so you'll know. But no, we have not. And if it's necessary, let me know, and we can work on that.
And please feel free. I'm sorry. Yeah, please feel free to email me, Councilwoman Guillaume and Councilwoman Fareed to continue to make your voices heard. We also have another meeting next Monday when we vote just on the contractual piece of it, but we'll still have time after that. So if you see, based on your study of this map, that something different, please come out and make your voices heard, and we'll certainly listen.
Yeah, thank you all so much. As long as there's indicators, just so we're aware, I think it's fine. It doesn't matter if it's a flag or spray paint. But thank you all again.
And when they're up, we're mandated to actually have a sign that says speed hump. So that will go in with the permanent speed humps. Okay?
Sounds great. Thanks.
All right. As soon as he stops sharing, I'll be able to see the screen again. And we'll have 3 more comments. Ms. Armstrong, thank you.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Armstrong, and I live in Ward 1. And I just wanted to make sure people are aware that the reason why there was an issue with commercial vehicles. I am against having commercial vehicles in this particular area only because the roads are already narrow, and I can sympathize with those folks that do have commercial vehicles, but they also should be mindful for the fact that this is a residential area, and I don't want to come home feeling that I'm in a commercial district. Then there's the safety issue. I almost hit a little child on Johnson Avenue, turning from Glenarden Parkway to Johnson Avenue we have these big commercial vehicles that's blocking my view as I turn. So when those vehicles are not there, that ball would not have gone in the middle of the street. So the child had to run out in the middle of the street where if there were no commercial vehicles, I would have been able to see the little boy and the ball probably would not have to go that far. So, and in addition, when I walk the streets, I do have a dog, and the dog can be aggressive towards other dogs. I like to see who's on the other side of the street. So when I walk the streets down Johnson Avenue and Fisk Avenue, I cannot see who's on the other side of the street. And then the streets are narrow. So now you have a street that's already narrow, and it gets narrower as you turn down Johnson Avenue, and I think is Grant Drive. It gets tricky because now people are speeding on this narrow little street, and I can't tell you how many times I had to put on my brake because someone is speeding to come around the corner. So it's a lot of issues concerning commercial vehicles, and I just want to make sure people don't forget the reason why commercial vehicles can be a problem in some neighborhoods. So that's it. And basically the issue with it just seems like there's so many things in the way of me driving. We got stop signs, and I don't know if the stop signs are going to still have these cameras behind it. Then you got the speed bumps, and now after listening to the chief, I understand the license plate recognition better. But it just seems like it's just so much going on in this small city. Like, how many cameras do we really need? How many, I just hope that that's taken in consideration. We need to get where we're going. And all these stop signs, oh yeah, the other issue I wanted to know is, does this snow removal companies gonna have a problem with some of these speed bumps? That's all I have to say. I just wanted to make sure that um, that people understand that there are some issues with these commercial vehicles being in a residential area. It just looks bad. It looks like a commercial district right now. I'm finished.
Thank you. I can't see that. Miss Alita Hunter.
Good evening. Did you have to say my whole name? Good evening.
I'm sorry, I can only see your name. I
No,
couldn't see your name from the
it's
TV.
fine. I'm joking. I'm joking. Good evening, everyone. Um, so I had a couple of comments. The first one, I want to talk about the speed bumps because Councilman Herring had been talking about speed bumps over in Ward 1 for some time. I couldn't see the map because I'm viewing this from my phone. So I would like to know where the proposed speed bumps are going to be on Glenarden Parkway in the same area that Ms. Armstrong just mentioned. And it's funny she said that because I think I witnessed that day when that happened with Glenarden Parkway, Johnson Avenue. My son almost got hit Monday again because somebody is running, and it was a van that was going up the street, going up to Glenarden Woods Elementary School, and just blew right through that stop sign. He was already in the crosswalk. And I mean, I'm hearing everyone talk about the other side of Glenarden Parkway, and they've already had accidents and people's homes get hit and cars get totaled. And I'm so sorry to hear that. But we're being, I don't want to say reactive because I still think we're being proactive with this, but I think we really need to be proactive over in Ward 1 and Glenarden Parkway. That is a treacherous all the way down that is treacherous all the way down. We can't get the lights on the stop signs. I guess we're going to do the speed bumps. And as far as there not being enough speed, too many stop signs in the city, I get it. We're trying to get where we're going, but at the same time, safety is of essence. It's essence, and it's just bound to happen with kids playing. And these stop signs, we have them, but they're being ran. So what good are the stop signs really doing if people just go run through them? So I would like to know where the speed bumps are going to be, at least on Glenarden Parkway, on and Ward 1. The other thing is with the flock, that program, I took time today to review and look at the stats and see how many states out of our I think it's like 42 states, 42 out of our 50 states, 50 right there, out of our 50 states, are using this program. And me, myself, I wish we already had them. And the reason why is because I had an incident where an aggressive driver was hitting people, running lights, and then actually ended up hitting me. But before hitting me, got out the car, pulled in front of 2 lanes, and pulled a gun out. This was a female, I guess, but she was very angry. So what I did, she started following me, then she ended up hitting my car, but I was taking her to Glenarden Police Station. And at the same time, I was talking to Prince George's County Police Department. But if those cameras were there, if we had that system, they would have been able to trail that car and see that car. All I could tell them was she was heading towards Seat Pleasant, but I was in Glenarden. I turned off. So it's no telling where she could have turned off on Hubbard Road or anywhere. So what I did find out about that is that there's no face recognition. They're not capturing anyone's face. They're not capturing pedestrians. It's only getting the tag numbers. And my only concern was that, is this information going to be shared outside of the city? And that was addressed stating that no, it will not be. That was my only concern about that. But if that system and that camera can read tag and pick up stolen vehicles or any, a tag that somebody might be wanted by the law, and they trying to travel through Glenarden, and they get that alert, and that can get someone that's bad or has ill intentions towards someone else off the street, I'm all for it. I'm 100% for it. Sometimes we got to try things before we say no. Just see it get in place and see what it does. And I think we want to make sure that Glenarden remains safe. And so in order to do that, we're going to have to put some other things in place. The other thing is, I saw earlier how many people were there for the meeting, and I would love to challenge the citizens of Glenarden to come out more. Come out more to regular meetings, even if you think you don't have anything to speak on or discuss. Just come out and hear. Because if you wait until something is already in place, it's too late. I had children. I'm a single parent. I work and everything. I couldn't make it in person, but I want to be informed. So if you want to be informed, I would love to see that room packed when we have these meetings, because it's so many citizens here, but it's only a handful that's coming out and speaking. But they care about all of the citizens. And your concerns are very valid, but you have to come out and speak and go online and find out when the meetings are and where they're going to be. And even at the county level, we have to do our due diligence to come out. We pay our taxes, so we have to do our due diligence. So the meetings are going to go on whether we're there or not, at the county level, state level, city level, municipal level. But I just hope going forward that we see more people coming out. And I want to congratulate the new incoming council that's coming in. And my prayer is that everyone will work together for the betterment of Glenarden and move things forward. And agree to disagree if you have to disagree, but don't hold up anything that's of essence and of importance to the citizens of Glenarden. That's all I have. Thank you for the police department, public works, council, mayor, everyone. Just Glenarden is a great city, and we can keep it moving forward and get even greater. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to quickly respond to one of your questions, is that we do actually, there are speed bumps being planned on Glenarden Parkway in Ward 1. If you look, this is Martin Luther King down at the bottom of the page, and this is Glenarden Parkway. A speed bump will be here, right here by the apartments. Further down here, as you go further down, there'll be one right before the stop sign before you get to the Glenarden Woods, and then one right after the stop sign. There are more speed bumps on Piedmont, Johnson Avenue, and there's some more down on Hay Street, all the way down, leading up to Glenarden Parkway and what street is this? And Delwood Avenue. And again, as Councilman Herring said, want to put things in place, see how it goes, and then can transition to more permanent ones. All right, with that being said, only 2 more comments left. I'll go with this gentleman first.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alan. I don't usually come to these meetings, but I was the little square right there on the blue. Now it's gone because my wife is probably asleep. But I did have a concern about my home. I did purchase the house 4 years ago, and with the intention of being able to park in my home. Now I do come from self-employed parents. I started working when I was 12 and developing our own business, so we wanted to show up into a 9-to-5 job. So we do have a lot of vehicles. Now they're not commercial, but I do have a lot of vehicles. I work on the vehicles myself. I love sport cars. I do have a total of 7 cars. So I purchased a home with the intention of first of all, I like so much land up there, and then the type of driveway it has. But now, the first year it was living here was okay because I wasn't as harassed by code enforcement as I am now for parking my vehicle on top of a grass. But the reason it was because when I purchased it, it has the apron. So when I purchased it, it has an apron in front. Now the driveway is not fully coated with cement or asphalt, whatever you guys want to call it, but it has the apron, so it is considered a driveway. But I'm being harassed that I can't park my cars on top inside my driveway without bothering anybody. As far as the commercial vehicles, I do understand, but I have regular vehicles parked inside there, and now you guys are forcing me to get my driveway repaved. Not sure why, but I do show concern because first of all, I mean, I bought the home, and I don't know how can I be grandfathered in because the aprons were there already, so technically it's considered a driveway. And for code enforcement to harass me almost every 7 days is just getting ridiculous. As far as the commercial vehicles, I own 2 homes, and they're all in PG County, and then I own this one. So the ones in PG County, I do live with a neighbor that I don't get along with. I lived there since 2020, and long story short, she's my front door neighbor. We don't get along. So we did have a commercial vehicle parked in the street at one point. She called the county executives, inspectors, police. It looked like a SWAT team showed up to my house that day. But the county enforcement, they went around my house. They did see cars parked. They did say something I couldn't have them dismantled or whatnot. So they just asked me to put tires on there. I put tires. We did move the commercial truck inside the driveway so it won't bother the street. And they told me as long as I don't have it out in the street, and it's inside the property where that we were okay to have it. I don't know why Glenarden is it has a different point of view in these things, but now we do have parking permits in the street. Of course, you still can't keep a commercial vehicle out in the street, but we're allowed to keep it inside a property. So that's one thing that I wanted to bring out. Maybe you guys take it in consideration or not. But at this point, as much as I've been harassed, I feel like selling the house. And then maybe Mr. Herring can get a little bit of that tax money for the value of the property that it is now. That's it.
So, I have a question for you. So one, I understand, but again, this is a county law, not a city law. And so, as it relates to commercial, because you said, can we consider something? There's nothing we can consider outside of as much passion was shown here tonight. I hope we take that same passion to the county, who actually can change something about it. As it relates to your cars, I mean, I don't care how many cars you have, but I do know that there's a code that says you cannot park on the grass. Are your cars on the grass?
Well, I purchased a home.
You have to come here.
I purchased the home and it wasn't repaved. So if that was the case, then it should have been the code for Glenarden to not sell the home if it's not fully completed, or some sort of code.
So your driveway is grass?
Yeah, I bought it with half asphalt, and then the rest of it was grass. So
there was a driveway.
There
with
is
asphalt.
Well, if there's an apron in front where
Yep.
where the street is, there is. I mean, technically, it is a driveway.
And so you want to expand it?
No, it's already there. So it's pretty big. It's a big lot where I live at.
Okay.
So I bought it with the intention to park all of my cars there. So now I have to move my cars from here to my other house in Landover, and then the other one in Cheverly. And it's because I can't, you guys are harassing me too much. And then as far as the commercial vehicles, as long as we could keep them inside our property, which is our driveway, I don't see why it bothers people to keep it out in the street. Now, I do understand the point of a lot of people where like they're in a curve or they park too close to their driveway, because when they did put the parking permit signs in my street, they did measure the certain feet from the corner to that sign, and from that sign you need a permit to park there. And we're still having a parking problems, but I mean, it's gotten a lot better. But as far as commercial vehicles, as long as we could keep them inside our property, I'm not understanding why they're an issue to Glenarden, at least, because the county PG County doesn't have an issue with it.
PG County actually does have an issue with it. That's why it's in the law.
Not as long as it's in our driveway.
That is not the law.
Well, then somebody's not doing their job. But it's just a lot that I've gotten to a point where I just want to don't even want to live in Glenarden.
Let me ask him something.
You know, and it's sad because I mean it was just. But
thank you.
Are you saying that you said you had about 7 vehicles? Are you saying that they're literally parked in your yard, like maybe around the backside or on the side on the grass, or they just in a drive?
They're parked in my other property though. I have them all parked because I have 3 properties. This is my third one.
In the city of Glenarden?
Not here. I have 1 property here in Glenarden, and I have 2 in PG County.
So specifically for the one that's here.
In Glenarden, are you saying that you have your vehicles parked in your yard?
I had my intention to purchase that home was to have them all parked here because of the amount, the size of the driveway that it has. But since it's not repaved, or when I purchased it, it wasn't repaved, or it didn't have asphalt, it's probably only, I don't know, 2 feet by 4 feet that has asphalt, but the apron from the street is wide enough to cover that whole, like, for you to know the difference whether it's a driver or not, because that's the whole purpose of an apron.
Yeah.
When you were cited at any time, did you get a code book, saying that what the codes are for the city of Glenarden?
No, well, I have the inspectors telling me every day, and they're leaving signs on my car, so.
But you haven't actually seen it written anywhere?
I talked to them, and they keep telling me the same thing, so it's just getting annoying at this point. I mean, it's just time consuming and having to go back and forth with them, and they tell me come to meetings, but it's something that, I mean, I don't know why PG County, if you guys go based on the PG County codes, I'm not sure why you guys, I don't know if you guys over enforce it or you guys overseen it, but maybe you guys should, I don't know, it's something I don't know, maybe you guys consider it, but at this point it's just getting to a point where it's just getting too much, and maybe a lot of people like living in Glenarden, but
yeah.
Thank you.
At this point,
again, the point I was trying to make is that a lot of these things that you were speaking of, they were have been on the books for 30 years and so forth. And I admonish anyone, when you moving into a location or a neighborhood or something, you need to do your research, see what's the law, what's not the law, especially if you have multiple vehicles, or you just have certain things, whether it's a business or whatever, what is actually acceptable, because a lot of times things come up, and then you're saying that all of a sudden this has happened where it was on the books for 30 years or 20 years. So that's why I asked you, did you get, when you were being cited, are they actually giving you the code book to let you read it for yourself, or are they just telling you something? Because they should be giving you a code book so you can see for yourself that it is written there and should be dated. So
I guess they leave a big paper, but I just, like I said, I mean, I live in PG County, and they're not as strict as you guys, or pain. Maybe my house is just causing too much attention. But is there a code to, as far as how many cars do you own, or can you own in the state of Maryland?
Not that I know of.
No, there's no. Look, it gets down to there's no. You can buy as many cars as you want to, but it's incumbent. You have to make sure you do the research for wherever you live to make sure that you are abiding by the laws of whatever community you live. So you have a lot of cars. I think I saw one house as I was walking around the city that had a lot of nice cars in there. It might be your house that has a lot of nice cars. Oh, they have a lot of nice cars. That's good. I don't have a problem with you having cars. The issue would be, well, can you accommodate all those cars? If the laws in the city says, hey, well, you can't just park your cars in the grass, because then everybody will park their cars in the grass, and then it'll be unsightly, and just like you can't basically do major car work on your car in a lot of municipalities because it's not a working garage. So you have to know these things when you move into a community. So in your case, you have 7 cars. I applaud you having 7 cars. I hope there's 7 cool cars. You can get 10, 20 cars if you want to. How are you, as the property owner, going to accommodate those 20 cars, or how many other cars you have? If the law says, hey, well, you say that you could fit your 7 cars in your driveway, but a portion of it isn't paved, then it's incumbent upon you to get that portion paved so that you can have your 7 cars.
I understand your point. I mean, if I purchased a home like that, and for the first 1.5 years I wasn't getting harassed by Glenarden, and I saw the code enforcement back then drove by and never said anything. I'm not sure what has changed now. Maybe the council team changed, or why
No,
not?
I will tell you what happened. 1, we were understaffed. 2, the people who were here weren't doing their job, so they're no longer here. And do some of the codes need to change that we created in the city? Absolutely. The county, all we could do was lobby. But the ones that we have created in the city. Can some of those change from 60 years ago? Absolutely they can. Cars being parked on the grass probably is not one of them, but I would assume that, I mean, you have a lot of cars, so I would assume that you also, with the purchase of these cars, will also have the means to pave the 2 feet or how many feet of the portion of your driveway that's not paved so that you can accommodate all of your cars. And then you might want to get 2 more. You can't
I guess. I mean, I have to, if I could repave it without having to pay you guys more money for the fees and construction permits and then I got to pay PG County, I would gladly do it. But then I have to ask the county for a permit. Then I have to come to you guys and pay you guys more money for another permit. And then I have to pay more money to here. And then on top of that, you guys are uprising our taxes even more than the county.
That's not true.
Yes.
That's not true. And
last year I paid I paid more taxes than
all right,
previous
so
years.
I'm gonna do these 2 points and then we're gonna have to move on, all right? So one, we're definitely not increasing taxes more than the county. That's one. Number 2, from what you communicated to me, you said that the driveway is already there. It just needed to be repaved. So if it's there, just need to repave. I don't know if you need a permit to repave. There's something that's existing there.
Yes, you do. Driveways, repair, anything change.
Well, hey, and that's the county. Hey, look.
Well, if you guys could waive your fee after, even though it's a small chunk of change, then I mean it could definitely work for at least a 2x4 square feet piece of pavement where I could just park my cars.
Look, as I said before, I agree that some of the laws don't make sense, but it's still the law. Like, I mean, I think the speeding limit should be 80 to 85. But if I do 80 to 85, I don't get pulled over. It's the law. I have to abide by the law. I mean, I've been pulled over before, but it's the law. I can't. There's nothing that I could do outside of walk with you guys to the county for county laws to lobby to get it to be changed. As Mr. Foster said before, of rallying and coming as a community to influence what policies are being passed on each level of government.
Well, as far as the commercial vehicles, then maybe you guys will consider us having it inside the driveway.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. But I'll get to you in a second. But I appreciate it. But your time is up.
Thank you.
And if you want to stay afterwards, I'll talk to you afterwards. Councilwoman Guillaume?
Yeah, thank you, Council President. I just want to make sure that citizens and everyone here is aware that these meetings are being recorded. So it's not just contained or confined to the city of Glenarden. So when we are intentionally and honestly and transparently saying that it's Prince George's County law, it is Prince George's County law. So when anyone comes up and says, well, can you bend? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you overlook the law? That puts us in a situation. That puts the city as a whole in a situation because it's being recorded that you want us to not follow the law. So I just want you to not you, Mr. Allen, I'm just saying in general that when people say, well, other municipalities are not following this, you're raising the red flag for the other municipalities because for us, our hands are tied in this regard. And again, these are some of us who want to try to find something. It's not like we don't want to try to find something, but when it comes to, as far as compromise is concerned, but when it comes to the law, it's the law. And I also want to make sure that if it wasn't stated clearly enough, the city of Glenarden did not raise taxes. So I just don't want that to be put out there that we raise taxes. Right. And number 2, I already forgot what number 2 was because you had me laughing. But again, this is a serious matter. In all seriousness, all citizens are going to be impacted in some way, shape, or form, because we cannot just not follow something, no matter how much we disagree with it. The only thing we can do is follow until we enact change. And that's why I said before, if we are against this, we need to go into the people who are the decision makers, which is the county, and change it. The federal government, their stipulation is 10,000 pounds. The county is saying 8,500. Our charter says we have to follow the county. So go to the county. You know, that's all I have to say. But just again, be very clear that you cannot come on the mic or anywhere and expect us to just say, okay, yeah, we're going to not follow Prince George's County law, and then we get caught up in some trouble. So I just wanted to say that.
And just
It's
to
recorded.
put a period on that, we all take an oath of office to uphold the laws. And as a principled individual, you would hope that your elected officials are holding true to that oath all the time. We may not like it, we may not like some of the policies that are passed, but the oath that we take holds us to obey all the laws of the land of the state of Glenarden. I put my hand on the Bible, so I will hope that you can respect principled people who will hold true to their oath and will actually work with you to help change things that may not seem fair, which I agree that as it relates to the working vehicles, that not all of it is fair. So with that, I think the last person put their hand down. And since I don't see any more hands, the time is 9:38. This meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.